Hey guys, what's up? My name's Kayla from Planning with Kay, and welcome to another video. Today I'm here with another back to school bullet journal video, this time showing you 5 useful weekly log layouts that I specifically designed for students. I also want to thank you all so much for your lovely comments on my last back to school video that I released last month. Everybody has really seemed to find those spreads super useful, so I want to give you some more ideas for how you can utilize your bullet journal to keep organized this semester. Also, don't forget to check out my whole back to school sticker collection in my Etsy shop, including the discounted back to school sticker bundle. I believe there are still a few of those left, and the link to all of that is in the description below. And with that, it's time to dive into my bullet journal and show you guys 5 weekly logs for back to school. Now, in my opinion, weekly logs can be one of the most useful tools when preparing for school in your bullet journal. It's more detailed than a monthly calendar, so you can really dissect each day of your week and schedule in all the different tasks and events that you have to complete. But it's also more general than a daily log, so you can really see your whole week at a glance and be prepared for what's ahead. Now, in my last video, I had a lot of people in high school commenting, saying that they wish that there were more videos that catered to high school students rather than just college courses when it came to bullet journals. So I really tried to make all of these weekly logs totally usable and useful for high schoolers and college students alike. So the first weekly spread I'm setting up here is separated based on class, and I think it's particularly useful for keeping track of homework, assignments, and studying throughout the week. I'm starting off by creating 6 columns down the spread. Each one is 28 spaces tall. The first column is wider than the rest at 13 spaces wide, and that's for my to-do list for each day. Then the remaining 5 of those columns will be for my 5 made-up classes, and those are each 6 boxes wide. I then split each column into 7 equal spaces for the 7 days of the week, each space being 4 spaces tall. Once I draw out my columns, I'm just labeling each day down the left side, Monday through Sunday. And for this particular spread, I decided to use these fall colors to match the fall themed stickers that I'm going to use as decoration. Most of the spreads I'm setting up today will actually not have any decoration and focus entirely on functionality, but I thought it'd be fun to bring in my fall themed stickers just for a couple of these pages. Now I'm labeling the top of each column. Again, the wider column on the left is going to be for my general to-do list for each day, and each column after that is going to be for one of 5 classes. The idea here is that for each class, you have a dedicated spot for each day to write anything that's due or anything that needs to get done. So any homework you need to work on, studying you need to do, or any upcoming tests, quizzes, or assignment deadlines for the week will be written in its respective box for that day, which should make it incredibly easy to see what needs to get done for each class on each day of the week. The to-do list section is then for any other tasks or events for the week that aren't connected to a specific class, so things like extracurricular activities and non-school related things. To complete the spread, I'm also including a little habit tracker in the upper right to keep track of some core habits that should help make my school week go a little smoother. In this example, my habits are waking up by 6 a.m., studying, eating healthy, practicing piano, and going to bed by 11 p.m. I just made these habits up for this fictional scenario, but obviously you would want to choose habits that would be most useful for you, depending on your activities and your personal routine. Now for every weekly log that I'm setting up today, I'm also going to fill the whole thing in with an example schedule. While blank spreads are obviously really useful to look at as reference, I find it most useful to see how a spread may actually be utilized and filled in. So that's why I wanted to show you guys a concrete example with each spread and how one may fill it in. So as you can see here, I'm using those class columns to jot down due dates and deadlines, like a math quiz on Tuesday and a Spanish vocab quiz on Wednesday. Seeing these important deadlines for the week then makes it super easy to see when you need to schedule in time to study, do the assignment, or prepare for whatever is due. So I'm also then going ahead and writing in on what days I need to do my studying, when I want to complete reading assignments, and what chapters or sections I may specifically want to review. And again, having everything separated by class makes it crystal clear what's coming up for what class on each day. Then for my daily to-do list, I'm jotting down any other things that I have coming up that week, things like sports games, student council meetings, piano recitals, as well as any other extra tasks that I need to get done. Our next back to school weekly log is set up quite a bit differently, and it starts off with a weekly schedule showing an hour by hour breakdown of each weekday starting at 5 a.m. and going all the way to 10 p.m. To do this, I'm actually using one of my weekly schedule timetable stickers, which just makes setting up the schedule super quick and easy. So with a schedule like this, you can really use it however is most useful for you. For example, if you're in high school, you're probably at school for the same hours each day, and your class schedule probably doesn't change too much. So I would use this more to keep track of due dates, tests and quizzes, special events, after-school activities, and other things that are more out of the usual. If you're in college, then you may want to use this to actually block out your class schedule each day of the week, since college schedules are often a lot more random and spread out. So above that schedule, I'm creating two lists, one for priority tasks or events, meaning anything that's particularly important that you want to highlight. And then I'm also creating a general task list for all other to-do items for the week. Now on the left side of the spread, I'm creating my daily sections, starting off by splitting the page into 7 different spaces, each one being 5 spaces tall. I'm then labeling each day on the left side, and for all of these spreads, I'm using the Crayola Supertip markers for color, a Tombow mono drawing pen for the thin black lines, and then a Tombow Fudenosuke brush pen for all of the black handwriting. Once those days are labeled, I'm then just splitting each day into 2 sections, one half for school tasks and events, and the other for personal tasks or events. Personally, when I was in school, I found that splitting up my task lists like this was incredibly useful, and it made my tasks a lot easier to read and easier to prioritize. And now to finish this off, I'm again just going to fill this in with an example, so that way you can see how you may utilize each piece of this spread. Moving right along to weekly spread number 3, I'm starting off by creating a column for each day of the week. Each column here is 6 spaces wide and 23 spaces tall, and I'm then splitting each column into 3 sections. The top section is 7 spaces tall, the middle is 9 spaces tall, and the bottom is again 7 spaces tall. And I hope all these measurements are making sense. I know that it's a little bit wordy and can get sort of confusing, but I know that a lot of you really appreciate when I give the exact grid spacing. So that's why I'm really trying to give the dimensions of all of the boxes in these spreads. So like I said, I have a column for each day of the week split into 3 sections. I'm going to use the first section for things that are due that day. So that's all quizzes, homework assignments, tests, labs, essays, reading assignments, anything and everything that is due. The next section is my task list for the day. And finally, the bottom is for all after-school activities. Now with all of these layouts, you can always adapt it to work for you. I chose to label this third section as after-school activities just to keep it more general and cater towards high schoolers and college students who have a lot of extracurriculars to keep track of. But if that doesn't really apply to you, you could always use this section for something else, like events, maybe your sports team's practice schedule, or what subjects you need to study that day. Don't think that you have to ever use these spreads word for word, line for line, how I am. Make the changes you want that will make it most useful for you and your own life. Finally, at the top of the spread, I've just created 3 different lists, one for the most important tasks of the week, and then 2 general to-do lists, both for school and other tasks. So for the next back to school weekly spread, I'm creating my daily sections on the right side of the spread, starting off by splitting the page in half. I'm going to make this spread another fall themed one using those fall stickers that I just released. So I'm placing one of these weekly header stickers 7 spaces apart, which gives me a nice little space for each day of the week to write down any day-specific tasks or events. I'm then just going to write the header at the top of the page, and I'm using the blank spot in the bottom right for any big upcoming events. Spread is going to be a due today section, which I'm making a column on the left side of the other page. This column here is 8 spaces wide, and each day is 4 spaces tall. As I'm sure is clear, this is where you can write down anything that's due throughout the week. So again, things like tests, quizzes, and homework assignments. And this will make it super easy to remember everything you have to turn in that week and be sure you don't miss a deadline or show up to a test unprepared. To finish this spread up, I'm using the blank space left over for 2 task lists, split up again into school and personal, just like the previous spreads. All right, so we're now on the last weekly spread I'm going to show you guys, and I made this one quite a bit different than the previous 4. For this, I'm giving each day a column that goes up and down the entire page, and each column here is 7 spaces wide. I then just sectioned off the top 8 boxes of each column. The large bottom part of the column is going to be for my daily schedule, so I'm actually labeling the hours down the side of the page, going from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m., and this will be for scheduling. So I'm going to show due dates, deadlines, test appointments, and other day-specific events. I'm then just using the top section of each column for each day's to-do list. Like that, we're done with all 5 of these back to school weekly logs. I really tried to create a good mix of layouts here that would work for all different kinds of situations and grade levels, so I hope at least one of these spreads appealed to you and will help you stay organized and stay on track this semester, whether you use the layout exactly as I made it, adapt it, or mix and match the different elements to create something totally your own. I also tried to make these simple to set up without using too many stickers, but don't forget that I do have a full line of back to school stickers in my shop, and I used all of those to set up 8 other back to school spreads in my previous video. So be sure to check out all the links in the description to my shop and that previous back to school video. All right, guys, that's it. I hope you found this useful, and if you did, be sure to give this video a like. And let me know in the comments below what grade you're in and which of these spreads you found most useful. Follow me on Instagram if you're not already at PlanningWithKay, and don't forget to check out the links to my shop, my Patreon, and other social media in the description below. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!